So as you can see, I'm currently in Signal Iduna Park, the home of Borussia Dortmund, and this time tomorrow night the place will be absolutely bouncing. You've got the yellow wall just behind me. You've also got the away end where about 3,900 Newcastle United fans are going to be packed into that area of the ground tomorrow night. There's probably about 5 people in here at the moment, and already you can sort of feel how echoey it is, and I can't imagine what it's going to be like tomorrow night when we actually see the Newcastle United fans and the Dortmund fans in there. Now, the reason that we're here is because we've just been speaking to Eddie Howe and Fabian Schär. They've been assessing tomorrow night's game, and it's not good news on the injury front for Newcastle United. That's because Dan Burn, who suffered that back injury on Saturday night, he looks like he's going to be on the sidelines for a couple of months. We've also heard that Matt Targett is potentially going to undergo a scan, and he could be out for 3 months as well. That leaves Newcastle United massively short at left back. Eddie Howe was obviously asked about Kieran Trippier and Lewis Hall, among a lot of other things, in what was quite an exciting press conference. We also heard from Fabian Schär, who spoke about the fact that he never even thought that he'd be playing in this competition with Newcastle United. We also heard from the defender saying about nearly leaving the club under Steve Bruce, and he paid thanks quite a lot to Eddie Howe, saying that he's absolutely saved his Newcastle United career. But yeah, it doesn't look good for Newcastle United. They're looking very stretched. Eddie Howe, doesn't feel like he's got the full range of players that he would like at a system. Adding to that Jacob Murphy being out, adding to that Harvey Barnes being out, Sandro Tonali's ban. Newcastle United looking very, very stretched at the moment. Now, as you can see, there's only about 4 or 5 people in this stadium. Look at that. There's the yellow wall where those Dortmund fans will be bouncing tomorrow evening. And then if we just switch to the other end, that's where the away fans will be, just shy of 4,000 Newcastle United fans. We've been in Dortmund for about 8 or 9 hours, and I tell you what, you would think that it was game day. The amount of Newcastle United fans we've seen dotted about the city centre, the amount of fans that we saw on our flight today from Stansted, never mind those who were flocking out of Newcastle to travel to Dusseldorf and Amsterdam and all the other places. It's going to be absolutely special to see so many in the stadium tomorrow night. So just leaving the stadium now, about to head back into the centre of Dortmund, and it's actually scary how eerie it was in there. Nobody around apart from a few staff members. Very, very good to get a glimpse of the stadium like that ahead of how everybody else is going to see it tomorrow. Now, just going back to Eddie Howe's press conference, and I want to talk a little bit more about Dan Burn now. Looked like a little bit of an innocuous challenge on Saturday night when he sort of flew over the top of Joelinton and an Arsenal star, but it looks like he has damaged the bottom of his spine, and that is going to be a good few months on the sidelines for him. Now, Matt Targett, he might have to go and have an operation. We think that's a hamstring problem for him. Another big blow. Now, what does Eddie Howe do at left back now? Because you've got Kieran Trippier, who obviously moved out to that position on Saturday evening. He played the second half there. You've got Tino Livramento, who's been in absolutely fantastic form. Can he come in and nail down that spot on the right, allowing Trippier to move over? Now, Eddie Howe was asked about that, and whether Trippier is maybe the solution at left back. He wasn't giving much away, but he does also praise Lewis Hall, praise his performance at Manchester United. And I think the question now is, what does Eddie Howe do? Does he think, okay, we're going to go with Lewis Hall and really give him a chance to shine on the left? Or does he think, Trippier could maybe do a job on the left, like he does for England, like we've seen a couple of times in the last couple of years? Not so much for Newcastle. Kieran Trippier famously liked a Chronicle video that we did a couple of years ago with Andrew Musgrove saying that he would never play left back for Newcastle United. I think Eddie Howe's obviously been forced into that. Trippier, I'm sure, will have absolutely no problem playing in that position. But it's very, very interesting to do because they're so light. Will he have to do a job there and maybe take away from Miggy's strength on the right, because we see how well they play together down that channel. But I don't think anybody will begrudge the fact that Tino Livramento looks like he's going to get a big run of games in this team now for the next couple of months, something that he's definitely earned based on his early performances so far. So it's 8 o'clock on a November night here in Germany, and as you can imagine, the lighting isn't very good on my walk away from the stadium. So instead, we're going to take a little short break from telling you all about Eddie Howe and Fabian Schär, just to show you some of the scenery that we saw on the way to the press conference today. It's a lovely city, Dortmund. It looks very industrial, very working class. From the couple of hours that I've been here. Football mad city. There's Dortmund flags and stickers and everything around the city, yellow and black everywhere you can see. And I think that's why, you know, you hear so often Newcastle United fans or English fans in general talking about, you know, how good the German support is. I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic spectacle to see what they're like tomorrow night, and hopefully the fans inside the stadium don't manage to put Newcastle United off too much. So nearly back at the hotel. You can see my beautiful face again now that there's a little bit of light off the roads. I just want to finish the video by talking a little bit about what Fabian Schär had to say. Obviously we saw Sandro Tonali in Milan. We heard from him before his ban. We obviously heard from Kieran Trippier and Sean Longstaff for the Newcastle games at St James's Park. So it was very interesting to see that Fabian Schär was the man put up today. We quizzed him on quite a lot of things, including, you know, what he's going to do without Dan Burn to his left, and also his new partnership with Jamal Lascelles. Obviously those two have came through the trenches together at Newcastle United and are now reaping the rewards, set to line up together in the Champions League. Schär, as you can imagine, very, very complimentary and very, very funny in his answering as well. He was asked about, you know, the fact that he nearly left the club under Steve Bruce, and, you know, he was asked, has he proved Bruce wrong? And he sort of laughed and said, well, you know, you'll have to ask him. There was also talk, you know, somebody asked him, you know, Schär, we thought he couldn't play in a back five. He said, who said that? He was making sort of light-hearted jokes, but you can also tell that there's a serious side to him, and that serious side to him, you know, says that he's playing his best football here, and he definitely wants to stay at Newcastle United long term. Now, another question that was asked to Fabian Schär was, do you like to finish your career here? You know, he probably doesn't have long left. He's at the business end of his career, and he sort of said, I can't answer that, but I've already said I want to stay at this club. And he think that with his contract up in just a few months, the club will be working very, very hard to get him signed up, along with a few other players who they're also in talks with. Now, as I said, Fabian Schär about to line up tomorrow night alongside Jamal Lascelles. I bet neither of them thought that when they were fighting relegation with Newcastle 4 or 5 years ago. So it'll be very, very pleasing, not just for those, but for the full team. And now all that's left is to see if Newcastle United can do the business tomorrow night against Dortmund and really open Group F up even more.